Hello and welcome to another tutorial. Well, it's not really a tutorial. This is going to be a really quick tip for Daniel Phillips Tutorials on Facebook. And this quick tip is to celebrate the fact that I've just booked my wedding for next year and also my videographer for next year. So it got me thinking, we've seen some wedding videos where you get the really stylized looks. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this really quick tip. Unfortunately, it's not going to be too in-depth, obviously, because I've got quite a busy weekend. So if we pop onto Red Giant Software's website, we have the Simon Walker's wedding and events for Magic Bullet looks. It's basically just an add-on pack, and this is what it looks like. The main one we're going to be concentrating on looking is this one, flashback. And if I pause it there, you can see there's quite a few things happening. It's really heavily diffused. Quite overblown in the whites. There's also still some contrast in the blacks, and it's quite blurry as well. We're going to take a look at that one mainly. There's a few more as well. Okay, start from the beginning. This one is like a really overexposed. Unfortunately, I haven't got any wedding videos to play with, which is unfortunate. But maybe we'll take a look at this really warm one as well. There, because that's very warm. It's quite a nice look. But mainly we're going to be looking at the flashback. Now, in After Effects, this is a video of my fiancée that I filmed without her knowing. And probably if she found out I was using it, she would call the wedding off. But hey, anyway, just name that footage. I've pulled it into a new comp. This was recorded with just natural lighting on a Canon T2i, and it looks quite nice in my opinion. But yeah, so we're going to look at the flashback, and as I said, there's a couple of things that we noticed. It's got a bit of diffusion on it, still a bit of contrast, quite overexposed, and a little bit blurry. So the first thing we're going to look at is the diffusion. So I'm going to duplicate the layer on the top video layer. I'm going to call it diffusion. And with that selected, I'm going to go Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and Gaussian Blur, and just pump it up quite heavily. There we go. And layer, no, Effect, Color Correction, Curves. And we're going to quite heavily blow it up as well. Okay, so the whites are really white. And with that selected, then we're just going to change this to screen, and it is quite heavily thing. Now the reason I added the curves is we can play with the diffusion then. And get the look that we want. Maybe if I pull it out a little bit actually. And there we go, you can see that is starting to diffuse, but there is also, the blacks are keeping their colour. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drop the opacity a touch. There we go. And then I'm going to pull in layer, new adjustment layer. Call it CC. And we're going to pull in Effect, Color Correction, Exposure. Close that down a sec. Effects, Color Correction, Hue and Saturation, and also Effect. Actually, I tell you what, I'm going to not use Hue and Saturation. I'm going to go Effect, Color Correction, Tint. And I'm going to go Effect, Color Correction, Curves. Now, there's a reason why I put them in this order. We just want to bump up the exposure slightly. Oh, it's a bit too much. And that's that. The tint is for if you want to make it black and white. So if we want to make like a stylized black and white look, I can just crush out some of these blacks. Bump up a little bit of the whites. Overexpose the whites again. And we could probably aim at keeping some of the detail in her face, but we're just going to do that for now. I tell you what, we leave it black and white, and if we want to just see what it would be with the color, we can do that. And I'm going to add another layer, adjustment layer, and I call this adjustment layer blur. With the blur selected, I'm going to add effect, blur, and another Gaussian blur. And this one I'm going to bump up as well quite heavily. Okie dokie. And I'm going to click the elliptical mask tool and just put it over the Caris here. I'm hitting space just to move the whole mask around. And there we go. Now the first thing I want to do is change it to subtract. And as you can see, it's quite a heavy blur. And I'm going to hit MM and feather the mask. Lovely jubbly. Now, this is overexposed, and for most things it would probably be unusable, but for a wedding video it tends to fly for some reason. So that's fine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make it black and white again, because I quite like the look. And finally, which isn't in the actual video, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to make a vignette really quickly. Ooh. And here we go. Double click. Click that to subtract. And then feather her out. Let's have a look. So it kind of adds a frame. I want this to be quite a light look. Change the expansion a little bit. And I just want it touching the edges slightly, so that it kind of draws your focus towards what would be the bride getting ready or whatever. And it just makes the look a lot nicer. And if you don't want the color, just flip this. Or we do want the color even. And the color's a little bit overblown there, so I mean, what I would do is just desaturate it a touch. So just pull out some of the color, because I mean, without the vignette, that looks pretty much exactly the same as what the flashback video looked like. And that's that. So unfortunately, as I said, it's a really quick tip, because I've got quite a busy weekend with actual work. I'm going to try my best to get another tutorial up before next Friday, but if not, next Friday will be the recording day. So thanks very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe down the line I'm going to have a few more wedding type videos, because I'd be in the mood for a wedding. So thanks very much for your time. I've been Daniel Phillips, and hit me up on Daniel Phillips Tutorials if you have any ideas on tutorials that you want to learn. Thanks very much. Bye bye.